everybody. Welcome to the Sunday night punch up pod shit show with Lila and Pat. Smooth opening. Oh God, and now he's muted. I love it. This is excellent.
I was calling it the shitaganza. I don't know what should we call it?
Shitaganza.
So
you know what? It was bad, but it was better than the Elon Musk Trump fiasco. So
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell us what happened.
I was pushing the buttons wrong to start this thing off because I looked up the last second and my microwave door was open, and I just can't have that. So it just threw everything off.
I think that was smart to close your microwave. It was worth it. It was totally worth it.
It would bother me the whole show.
Yeah, you can't have that. How are you? How is it? It's been a week. That's crazy time. More than that, right? Sunday and
3 shows,
Wednesday.
I think.
Yeah.
Didn't we skip 3 shows?
No, 2. It's been a week and a half since the last Wednesday show.
Gotcha.
Nothing's happened. Did I miss anything?
I mean, politically, there's some stuff. Maybe we'll cover a little bit of it, but yeah. Not much.
Yeah. Go ahead. How are you?
Our timing is off here, folks.
I know. You can tell we're out of sync. We're a little out of sync here.
Yeah.
How are you, Pat? What have you been up to in the past 10 days?
I am good. I've been working, did some side jobs. I bought an e-bike.
Yes, you told me. I'm excited.
Last year, I bought an electric skateboard thinking I was going to be, how you doing, kids? Hey, kiddos.
Hello, fellow kids.
But I lived down and I was like, it'd be nice to just hop on my skateboard or whatever and just not have to deal with traffic to go to the gym, hop around. But skateboard is like, it's a death wish. And it's just, it's not. So anyway, the e-bike is the solution I was always looking for. It's so nice to hop on that thing and just go out and hit the town and not worry about traffic. And it's kind of fun riding around. So
can you be on the sidewalk with that, or do you have to be in bike paths? I've never done that.
Yeah. So it depends on where you live and your state and your county. In SAC, as long as there aren't signs up saying you can't be on the sidewalk, you can be on the sidewalk. But they have really good bike lanes that they put in the last few years around Midtown. So,
all right,
it's kind of nice.
Congratulations, that's really nice.
Yep. How you doing? What's new?
I am good.
How was your trip?
It was really nice. We went about an hour south and just hung out by a pool, and I drank Mai Tais all day and wine all night, and we ate too much. But it was really nice just to be the 4 of us. My sons. My husband and I being forced to sit around and talk to each other for, 5 days in a row. It's a good thing. I mean, we always do, but it's a lot of transactional is not the right thing, but we're always passing. It's not always the 4 of us together. And so it was just really, it was a really nice time. It was very cozy and fun. Yeah.
Some marriages couldn't survive 5 days of that. So that's impressive that it actually strengthened you guys.
We drink a lot. No, we're, we're used to fighting. People used to call us Sid and Nancy when we first started dating 32 years ago, because it's never violent, but we don't agree on everything, certainly, and we're not afraid to say it.
You guys are great. I love Josh. He was a gracious host and just a fun guy, and I look forward to seeing soon this year. I'm going to get down there and see you again.
I know. So thank you for saying that. He loves you also. I was really hoping you could come over the summer with my kids here. You met my younger son, Xander. Whoops, I'm pulling up my stuff, but not my older son, Asher. Yeah. And just a few weeks ago, I said to you that I don't feel like we're a COVID safe house right now. I mean, my husband and I, we still mask indoors all the time when the kids are with me. I know they do that, but I also, it will be much safer when they're gone. And I would hate to ever put, compromise.
I hear you. I forgot to mention that my dad got COVID. I know you know that.
Sorry. Yeah.
And he got it from a
house guest.
Long story, but a family friend came to stay with them, and she was there to drive her ashes up, her husband's ashes to Lake Tahoe to drop. And I actually went and met them for dinner. But we ate outside.
Yeah.
I was unmasked, but we were in a real high air flow place.
Right.
But he ended up driving her up to Tahoe in the enclosed car, or no, he drove her back, actually. Anyway, the moral of the story is she stayed with somebody that was sick and said that they had tested and it wasn't COVID, and they hadn't tested and it was COVID. So everyone that went to see her got sick, and my dad got it from being in the car driving back with her.
Damn. Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think a lot of people have just decided like, oh, people I know and who I like are COVID free for whatever reason.
Magically.
Like, yeah. And I don't think the rapid tests are really all that accurate anymore. And most people aren't testing. And again, I will just say what always makes me laugh is nobody, you know, as much as people say COVID's no big deal now, nobody would say, oh God, nothing. It's just COVID. They always will say it's either allergies or just a cold. Nobody, you know, so everybody knows COVID is actually a big deal, which is why nobody wants to cop to it. Yeah. And yes, I'm seeing all of these people. Yes, we now have, is flu. I know we have monkeypox and obviously COVID and bird flu. Yes. Sorry. You're right. Bird flu. Yeah, it's awful. And hi, everybody. I want to read I've missed everybody so much. I want to say hi. I see all of you. Thank you for coming to hang out with us. The tests that we have are all expired, like from 9 months ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway.
It's a mess. And, you know, around Sacramento, I think the tests are usually about $20, 20
a lot. Up. Yeah.
Strangely, though, if you live in Sacramento, here's a little hack. West Sacramento, which is technically not Sacramento, it's part of Yolo County, Davis, but it's right 10 minutes away from me. It's where my parents live. They have vending machines with free tests available.
That's so awesome.
They have their shit together on COVID. You could just drive over there. You don't talk to anyone. You just go up to the vending machine, you push a button, you get some COVID tests.
Yeah.
And that should be universal everywhere.
100%. And they should be accurate, and they should be able to test for 3 things at once, the way they can, I think, in either in Europe or in some countries in Asia.
Yeah, some are 5. Testing 5 things.
Like, what are we doing still with a test from a year ago for new strains? We're 2 strains deep into the new ones now, and they're expensive. And we keep getting different recommendations on when to test. Is it 4 days after your symptoms? Like, you know,
yeah.
Okay, so then you're supposed to do it 2 days later if it's negative, but you still aren't feeling well. So then, you know, and there are a lot of drugstores that are out of tests. I mean, it's just,
yeah,
Biden handled it.
Look, they don't want tests out because they don't want data coming in showing that COVID's rampant. But really what you should have is there should be ubiquitous testing everywhere you want it. Yeah. It's all free because it's, you know, as the economists themselves said, there's no amount of money that isn't worth spending to prevent COVID from decimating our economy and our population. It's going to have dramatic effects. So what you should have is these ubiquitous tests also say on the back immediately in bold letters, go to this website to report that you got COVID. And here are some things we will do for you.
Exactly.
And here it'll be a resource thing and it will track it.
Yeah. Yeah. There are so many ways that we could be spending the billions of dollars. And I know, and I understand why the MMT people are like, stop talking about like we're spending money on bombs and we could be sending it here. And like, I get what they're doing, but the truth is it's the priorities. It's the focus. It's where is your focus right now. And it's on slaughtering and, you know, creating a genocide and more sickness in the world where we now are going to have polio also. And we always find the money. Like we could always find the money, make it a national emergency the way we still do with September 11th, all these years later, instead of ending the emergency the way Biden did and just throw money at it. Like we have the money, we could do it. It would actually help the economy. Anyway, very frustrating. We're going to get into all of it.
Yeah, we're covering tonight. Let's see, just so I remind myself, because we're a little rusty here.
Yeah, we're really rusty.
Communism, because that's the new thing here lately. The Democrats are communist.
Yeah.
I'm calling it bird pox fluvid season, but
that's a good one. It rolls off the tongue like that. I love it.
and peace negotiations.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at. Yeah.
And we'll probably not spend I mean, it's so horrible, but not spend a ton of time on Israel today, because on Wednesday, we're really excited. We're going to have a Palestinian scholar, or he's a Jewish American, but a scholar of Palestinian history. Zachary Foster is going to be on. So that will be a sort of heavy, both in substance and in materials day for Israel. So today we will touch on it a little bit. I mean, it just, every day is a new horror, but we are mostly going to cover the shit show of our politics domestically today. So with that said, let's thank our pup heroes and sheroes, our members. You guys, thank you. Our numbers keep growing. We are so grateful to all of you. Thank you. The font is getting smaller. The columns are getting more plentiful, and we are incredibly grateful to all of you for being members. Thank you. It's pretty awesome. Thank you. Thanks for reminding me, Pat. I was about to go right to cheers. I forgot.
Yeah, let's get our cheers going though.
Okay. So this is international. As we know, there are all these crazy race riots happening in the UK based on the false accusation against a young man who was born in the UK to parents from, I don't know, but either Rwanda or Nigeria, I think. And I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but he is a UK-born Christian man, but the racists could not wait to blame everything, the violence. He did a horrific act. He stabbed several people. And because he is Black, they said why are you letting all these immigrants in? And the right-wing fascists started these race riots, and it's really reprehensible. So this young woman is trying to steer everybody straight.
We've got a bar over there that's Brazilian, favela. We've got Pizza Americano, which if you're from Barnsley, it's an absolute stronghold of after a night out. Everybody's getting a pizza from there. Owned by people who are not from Barnsley, foreign people. Soul Lounge, not British, not Barnsley. Everything in this town has got some contribution from non-British, non-Barnsley people. Half our Barnsley team are not British, and we love it. The immigrants make our society better. They're what make us better as people and make us proud to be British. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of people making the small minorities in society the scapegoat for all the problems. Your problems are from classism. Your problems are from the top down, people making us feel small because we're working class. But I'm proud to be working class, and I'm proud to be anti-racist working class as well, and I will not have it in my town.
Here, here.
Cheers to her. Everybody, I mean, I know everybody here believes that, but it's always good to hear it from somebody else. So cheers, lady, to immigrants that make us all better and stronger. And it's actually who we all are on some level. What are we doing now? The wheel.
Yeah, let's spin the wheel.
No,
You're right. I was
going
to just go to the hashtag. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to thank Devin for reminding us to make sure to like and subscribe, smash that notification bell.
Smash it.
We are, just to put it out there, and we'll have to figure out the exact schedule but next week, in a week and a half or whatever, I am also going to have a little bit of a funky schedule. So please do smash that notification bell so that when we go on, possibly on a different day, one of these weeks, you will get the notification.
Someday we will. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. I did all that stuff. Now you do your thing. We're not doing the wheel. There we go.
Yeah, let's spin the wheel.
Let's spin the wheel. Let's see what we got. Let's start it off.
Baby. It's a Sunday show, so we don't actually do shots. At least
I just drink a bottle and a half of wine.
Drink a lot more.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Okay, I'm closing it, and let's see what we got. We're gonna start something fun. That is adorable. You know, it's been so hot here and I'm so such a baby with the heat. I will, when my dog wants to play with me and wants to like toss a ball, I do it in the house and our floors are really slippery and dogs do not have the same ability that cats do. And she will kind of like slide and that's just it for her. Like she kind of tumbles over. So they have, that's quite a skill set there with those kitties. It's pretty cute.
I got my cat a new toy. I call it Box, and she's been loving it.
It's the free box that like something else was sent in, right?
Yeah, there's always permanently in my living room a box so that the cat can play with it because I
love it.
You don't have the heart to throw it out once she hops in and loves it for a couple days. So
and it's the cheapest toy you'll ever get for them.
Oh,
right.
Well, except for the astronomical stuff that came with my e-bike that cost me. Yeah, you can buy a box for like 50 cents probably.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Let's get to it, right?
Yes, we are starting.
All right, I like it. And we got it's Schrodinger's box. That's funny, except I can
what happens in the box stays in the box.
Yeah, exactly. What's in the box? And I'm glad you just responded to Devin because I was going to say he's asked a couple times which bike. So good.
Yeah, sorry. So I bought the tricky part is I wanted a bike I can put someone on the back and ride around with, you know, to hop to like some microbreweries and do some outdoor fun stuff.
Yep.
But I also live on the second story, so I couldn't have a ridiculously heavy bike.
Right.
So to compromise, that was the perfect bike for that situation. Although it's still like 100 pounds, and like I don't recommend anyone.
Oh, that's not light.
Pretty strong to carry a 100-pound bike up and down the stairs. So.
Well, I have to say, so part of the reason I feel like I'm a little slow on the uptake right now is yes, vacation. I'm coming off of it, but also like 2 minutes before we went on, I tweaked my back and I just keep moaning. I'm in so much pain right now with like, you know, smallest violin. But if you like, sometimes I'm putting it on mute just so you all don't hear me moan. I'm going to be fine by the time I get to my third glass of wine. Don't even worry about it. And yeah, you got to have the guns like Pat in order to have that 100-pound light bike.
No,
I would not just work for me.
Yeah, it's dangerous for me. Trust me. It's not, you got to be careful taking a 100-pound bike up and because it's bulky as shit too. It's like, it's weird.
Yeah, it's like
and part of the reason I got the bike was to get my ass in the gym because I haven't worked out in over a year. So it's time to get off my butt.
Well, maybe we need to help each other because I was starting and then I just kind of faded. I got to get back on the saddle. All right, let's get to the chit show. The actual show.
What do we got?
Well, so this week, in case you just fell out of a coconut tree, is the DNC convention. We got quite a lineup. President Biden will kick off the all-important first spot on Monday night, which is where they put the losers of the party. His opening remarks are expected to focus on the accomplishments of the Biden-Harris administration, including their work on the economy, LOL, bringing the country back after the COVID pandemic, LOL, and defending democracy both nationwide and internationally. The president was originally slated to close out the convention before he withdrew. Then we will have First Lady Jill Biden and then Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson. That is a hilarious 3-point speech, all of which are disgusting lies.
I mean, he didn't even add his moonshot for cancer. Cancer is supposed to be gone by now, folks. Yeah. He was going to end cancer, his cancer moonshot. Although he did just a few days ago come out and say, like, we're pledging another I don't know, 80
$30,000.
million.
It's like
80,
nothing.
I think it was
yeah,
something around $100 million, but like in the big picture, that is so nothing. Like,
I mean, again, it's like, where are your priorities? Where are the priorities? Cancer, which we're only contributing to by funding and arming a genocide, because that is definitely going to all those chemicals, all those toxins in the air. Again, even if you know, I mean, like, it is just absolutely jaw-dropping to see the priorities of this disgusting administration. No cancer moonshot. Yeah.
It's truly amazing that he's going to come out and brag about having whipped COVID. And I hate to scream at the left all the time, but he can only do that because there's no criticism of him on the left. He can just lie to everybody, which is leading to more death and more destruction and more, like, kids are going to live to be 40 or 50 years old. Like, that's what we're doing right now. I mean, we're
and their kids are like, I mean, this just saddens me to no end. But, you know, they say like, if you go into like the Lancet or scientific journals, they recommend not trying to get pregnant within 6 months of having COVID. So, like, we don't even know the long-term effect. I know they say it contributes to like decreased sperm count and erectile dysfunction. Mothers who contract COVID when the baby's in the womb have different, you know, sort of negative outcomes, learning delays. But that's after only 4.5 years of this. Like, I can't, and most people don't even know when they have COVID, right? Like, what we are doing to future generations is so deplorable. I cannot even believe that he's going to get up on stage. And by the way, that is the thing that ended, like, that was the final straw that ended his candidacy for a second term, is COVID. And he's going to say he beat it.
He got in with COVID and he got out with COVID.
Yeah,
so,
100%.
And now
he's democracy.
out. And now he's going to brag about it as one of his 3 things.
Right. And democracy, which is so funny because Kamala doesn't even talk about democracy. But like, the only reason he got in was the undemocratic move by Obama and the DNC of removing everybody in the way and clearing a path so that Biden was versus Bernie. And now he was removed the exact same way.
Undemocratic. He got in from undemocratic means. He got out through undemocratic means. Kamala replaced him through undemocratic means. Literally came out and said, I'm going to earn all your votes. And then the next day later, after calling delegates, which I don't even think they did, people called people and said, it's Kamala. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
Now it's her who nobody liked. And I'll give them credit. They have run a very good vibes campaign at this point. They have hit her. They have had nothing but, you know, public. It's marketing, branding. That's all she is. There's no substance there. As far as her beating Trump, I mean, she's on the path to beat him pretty easy right now, I will say. But this is all before the bad stuff comes out, kind of. This is the honeymoon period. Yeah,
she has not had to face a single reporter, a single press junket, a single interview. She doesn't have policies. She hasn't earned a vote. She's never gotten a vote. Like, how is that democracy? How can they even pretend it's democracy? It's so ridiculous.
Well, look, they've dropped that part of it. It's not even part of their campaign anymore. They're not going after, they're not saving democracy anymore.
Well, that's
they're just
why
stopping the weird guys.
I am wondering, exactly, why they're allowing, because obviously Biden's not writing his own speech. Like, why is that even part of the bullet points of what they're saying his speech is going to be? Like, why are they talking about COVID when, like, we're seeing COVID on the rise? Why are they talking about democracy when she isn't? And it's clearly like, that is actually a real point of contention, because obviously this is not democratic.
I think with COVID, they're talking about it because universally, like, they want to look to Republicans like they ended this thing, to Republicans.
Right.
Like, because Republicans' biggest attack on Democrats or a big attack from Republicans is, look, you locked us up. You were going to take our freedoms away. And he's going to say, we didn't do that. And that's all in the past. We don't have to worry about that now. You know, so there's no push. The right can't really push back and say, oh, he didn't end COVID. They're not going to do that. So it's like, it's kind of just a default win when he goes there in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't
guess
know. Maybe
you're right. No, I think you're right. You know, when they said we got to take away masks now because we want people to believe us when we bring them back. Yeah. What was the metric? Because now I think it's like 1 in 23 people has COVID, is infected with COVID in the nation right now, and we're not bringing it back. I mean, it's crazy. Okay, I know we're not on COVID yet, but anyway, so that's day 1. Super exciting. Day 2 is J.B. Pritzker, who's the governor of Illinois, former president and pedophile rapist Epstein associate Bill Clinton. Cannot believe he's allowed out in public without an arrest warrant getting him out of there. But anyway, and Hillary Clinton, who lost to Trump, and former President Obama, who paved the way for Trump.
Right. It's
Tuesday night's gonna fucking rock. It's
great. All we're missing is Claire McCaskill going on stage and lecturing us on how to win an election by somebody who lost her election because she wasn't progressive.
Yeah, you got to move there. Tack to the right. What are you doing? Tack to the right. You always got to tack to the right. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good enough. Okay. Here's the big one. Also on Tuesday, former First Lady Michelle Obama. Then we have Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, and Second Gentleman Doug Emhoff. Day 4 is Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, the vice presidential nominee, and Vice President Harris will deliver her presidential nomination acceptance speech to close out the convention. Each day has its own theme. Day 1 is for the people. Day 2 is a bold vision for America's future. 3, fight for our freedoms. And day 4, for our future. And if you expect anyone to define what any of that means, best of luck to you.
Well, it's don't look back. No looking back. We're not forward. I mean,
I'm sure you saw Obama-ish.
Well, they're trying to do that. They're trying to Shepard Fairey came out with the painting of
Wait,
Kamala,
was that from now or that wasn't from 2020? That's new. I didn't know that. Amazing.
I think there's a new one. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Somebody tell me, but I think it was new with the forward.
Okay.
Because that's her new sort of slow. Is that her official slogan yet?
Yeah, I think it is, like moving forward, something like that.
Yeah. So they went out that has forward underneath it.
Oh my God.
Same aesthetic.
First, of course, she has none of the political skill or speaking abilities of Barack Obama. But the other thing is he actually did run on a few things. I mean, he, then didn't deliver on any of them, but he did run as a progressive. And she has disavowed anything that might be at all progressive. And then we're going to show it in a bit, but it's really funny because all of Trump's attack, and he's like, has 2 attack ads on her, and they're from 2020. Like when she was pretending to be radical. But anyway, like where are any progressives? Like where's AOC? Where's Ilhan Omar? Where's Bernie Sanders? Where's, Representative Pocan or Sherrod Brown? Like even the people who are sort of like, a little to the left of the Dem or in the Dem party, but like a little on nobody except for Chicago mayor.
Well, and I mean, what's especially troubling is that all the people that you just mentioned who became allies for Palestine, like they're just shutting up and like saying, well, we'll see what she does after she wins. Like if you're protesting a policy that she's literally right now in charge of and handing billions of dollars to Israel and weapons, like now is the time to say, we got to get this handled before the convention, before you're the nominee, or you don't have our support. You don't have our support.
I mean, It is so repulsive that the squad, the people who came to bring a ruckus, have just completely capitulated. That is not democracy. And also, part of the reason that she had all of those policies that she lied about believing in was because there was a primary. And when there's no primary, when you don't face any questions, when you don't face any challenge from anybody, nobody knows her policies. She's like this empty vessel where everybody can be like, well, she's young and vibes, but like there's nothing there.
Yeah. No, there's no there, and she's gonna do everything she can to not lay out a specific policy, because by not laying out a policy, if you win, that can't be used against you for the next election, that you didn't do anything because you didn't say you'd do anything. And then you could say, look, they elected me because I was not a progressive, so there's a mandate to not be progressive. It's all bullshit, but it's they always find an excuse to be more farther right and not do progressive stuff. And this is the peak, opportunity to just ditch all progressive policy. Like, this is a great move for centrists and corporatists.
100%. And the fact that they don't have, whatever we all now think of Bernie Sanders, he is still one of the most popular politicians in the country. Every time, I get, like, as we all do, hundreds of these emails and texts every week, right? When they want to entice people or bring more people in, it always starts with Bernie says, and it's not like I think some people maybe are fooled that it's a Bernie email, but like, it's clearly not. But they know that those policies are popular. That's why they pretended to have them. That's why she chose Tim Walz, who's not even anything like that. But like, so the fact that they're not even now going to pretend she's like, how do you talk about climate policy and say, I'm no longer for banning fracking? How do you talk about we need lower healthcare costs and they're going to try to take away your healthcare and say, but I'm anti-Medicare for all? There is a genocide happening. And she's saying there is no light between me and the president, Biden, and I don't believe in an arms embargo. So like,
yeah, what hope are you hanging on to with Kamala if you're pro-Palestine? If you're hoping for some COVID relief, where's your hope there? All they're doing is they're pushing these little fringe things that they think will appeal to people. I mean, when I say fringe, I don't mean that they're not popular, like the getting rid of taxes on tips, which was Trump's idea first off. Right. So that's like,
and cruise.
It's not a big W when Trump came out with a policy.
Yeah, your border bill and your no tax on tips are both right-wing policies, aces.
Yeah, and even the housing thing, really, Zaina, we were talking a little bit, and she did some research on it too. Yeah. It's going to be a corporate handout to the builders and developers.
Of course. So, by the way, so will the no tax on tips, because they will allow loopholes where businesses will talk about different earnings as being tips. And that, Warren Gunnels just did a whole thing on how about we just raise the minimum wage? Like, tipping is ridiculous anyway, right? So all of these things are actually, it's like the Obamacare, ACA, the Heritage Foundation, which was basically just a giveaway to health insurance companies. That's where all of these are going to go, all these policies.
Exactly. It's like you go into your boss and saying, I need a raise because I can't pay my rent. And he's like, well, hey, good news. We got a pizza party on Friday. Yep. From now on, pizza party Fridays. And that's all these policies. Yeah, they help people. Yeah. Not
on Friday at 5, it helps you.
Ticket fees is a thing that helps people because, the ticket fees are too much. Not price gouging. That one even come, like, what's her plan
for that? Yeah, what's her plan for that?
That's just garbage.
Yeah.
But they're not solving any structural problem at all. Like they're not getting near it. I mean, like you said, the minimum wage, if you want to really help the lower tier workers, It's not rocket science. You raise the fucking minimum wage.
Yeah, take away tipping altogether. Like, we don't need tipping. You actually don't need tipping. They don't, I mean, in Europe, they have some of it, but it's so minimal compared to what it is expected here, because the owners and the managers actually pay salaries to their servers, and they pay into their pension funds, and they have they have free healthcare. So like, they just make a salary that's a good salary. You don't depend on, did you smile enough? Did you, like, it's just, I mean, honestly, it started as such like a sexist, racist way of having to earn your keep. Yeah, it's every single part of it. And as much as like, I cannot stand Elizabeth Warren and all of her means testing stuff, she's like 20 times better than Kamala. Kamala, it doesn't even have any of that. Kamala doesn't even have a half measure. She has like a,
yeah, and her look on the surface, it's appealing. Like she wants to put $25,000 loans available for people who can't, towards their down payment, first time home buyers. But you have to have made your rent on time 2 years in a row. Like, why you got to means test it? First off, the people not paying their rent on time need it the most, so you just eliminated the people. And let me tell you, working class people, like at the lower tier that need that money for the down payment the most, it's hard to not miss one late payment. I mean, not make one rent payment late, because it's a built-in, like, you pay it late, it's going to cost you some money, but you're juggling your funds so much. It's not like you're irresponsible with your money. These people are trying. And so they're going to be punished the most.
They will, which is always what happens. Like, if you could afford a down payment, your mortgage would often be less than what your rent is. So like, basically, there's always a tax on the poor. If you have to take out student loans, you end up paying several times what the actual tuition is. Rich people get to just pay the rate of the tuition, which is obviously ridiculous. Yeah, they're going to make it so that nobody actually qualifies, or by the time you do, you've had to go through so many different hoops, and the only people who will consistently qualify will be BlackRock and these big building construction companies, who will have a whole legal team just filling out paperwork and submitting it to get those $25,000 fees. Yeah.
And the number one thing you can do if you want to bring down the cost of rent and housing is break up these banks and big investment groups buying up housing. You say, look, on a personal level, you can buy 2 or 3 homes maybe or something, but like on a corporation can't own 10 homes. Like, that doesn't benefit people that a corporation owns 10 homes. And we're talking about corporations that own hundreds of thousands of homes. And they have no interest in getting them on the market. They don't. It just drives up the price of the real estate they own by having these sitting.
Well, and that's the other thing she said. We need to build whatever she said, like 3 million home. Let's find it here. The home thing. What'd she say? 3 million new housing units. But meanwhile, over the next 4 years. But meanwhile, like, we all have heard the statistics that there are several times the number of empty homes versus the homeless people that we have in our country. So it's not really about building new homes. I mean, like, a lot of those are single family, 3,000 square foot McMansions, but that aren't affordable, and they'd rather keep them empty. But like, the problem isn't actually that we don't have enough housing.
I mean, on some level it is, though, honestly. Like, it's a mix of all of it, in my opinion.
We don't have enough cheap housing.
Like Sacramento, we don't have enough affordable housing. But I don't think just strictly putting the houses back on the market is always going to solve the problem, because some places, like Sacramento, it's not going to solve the problem for Sacramento. You need to build rental units, you really do. But, the other thing is, you've got all this, they want you back to work so that those offices stay offices. But, if you got to stay home, you can convert some of those offices easily into these apartment complexes. I mean, there's some work involved. Like, a lot of these places don't have, you need to go in and get the plumbing and do, there's a lot of work. You can't just,
but she wants to get rid of a lot of regulation, which is also great. Get rid of the regulations.
Yeah.
I mean, that
And
is
like
such
you
like
said,
a Bill Clinton, Reagan kind of thing that is only going to hurt poor people even more, right?
well, you know, they're not going to lift the regulations for you and me. Like,
Right.
you know, in Sacramento, if you want to build like a tiny home or, you know, something like
Like a
that,
mother-in-law
you can't.
place or whatever. Yeah.
Well, that part you can, but you can't just go in and build a little house in the backyard to move somewhere else and live. Like, it's just not going to happen. It's going to cost you $150,000 to do something that only costs $20,000. You know,
Right.
they're not getting rid of that. Now, Sacramento, to their credit, did change that law. They have blueprints available for pre-approved plans
Oh,
for
that's cool.
ADU
That's a good
units.
idea. Right.
So you can go in and there's like, I think 3 or 4 different plans you can just pick, so you don't have to go through the permitting process, approval
Right.
process. So they've done some of that, but that's because they have such a major problem that's even in itself a short problem, and that's a short problem that benefits people who have a lot of money already, because they're the ones who are going to put the ADU in their backyard, and that the permanent rental class is still not moving up from this situation.
Right. I mean, I think, you know, anytime something sounds good, we all just have to come back to personnel as policy and the people who are in her ear, right? The people who are in her ear are Mike Pyle, former top executive at BlackRock, venture capitalist Rohini Kazoglu, I'm not going to say that right, Tony West, anti-union brother-in-law. Like, these are the people who are advising her. These are the people she trusts. So it doesn't matter what she says. She even will tell you it doesn't matter what she says. It was a debate. What she said in 2020, she's completely against it. Like, who would be for Medicare for all, truly? And then 4 years later be like, nope, not my thing. For a Green New Deal, nope, no longer care about the climate or fracking. We're not like.
We don't need Medicare for all now that they've lowered the cost of insulin, or as they like to call it, all medicine. Like we've lowered the price of drug. We lowered drug prices by lowering the price of literally one drug.
And by the way, I mean, I know, like, I can't stand Trump. So like, but he started that. Do you remember that? Like, he started it. And I think it was because of COVID. I can't totally remember exactly why, but then Biden ended it and then started it again. But whatever provision Trump had put in place during his term, Biden actually allowed it to expire and then re-upped it at a different time. Anyway,
I think what people needed to understand with insulin, though, is that insulin doesn't. The reason insulin was always the most ridiculous example of all of it is insulin is just producing some sugary shit. Like, it doesn't take some high-tech technology to produce insulin. Like, insulin can be made for like $2, you know,
right?
And it's been that way forever. So like, the fact that they got this one thing that was so fucking obviously just bending people over for piles of money, like, you can't claim that that is even a pathway to get the drugs that cost $10 billion to develop cheap. Like, it's not.
Right.
There's no correlation between those two. There's no patent on the fucking insulin. It's just.
I mean, every step of it is basically just another obstacle. Yeah. So I'm trying to like listen to you and read all of these great comments, and I'm missing a bunch of them. I'll hope Congress passes Wall Street regulations. But no matter what, developers, of course, are going to make bank on this. And then, yes, if you get her that Congress, which, by the way, is probably impossible right now. So that's always their fail-safe thing. Then they're going to make sure that the Fettermans and whoever is going to be the next, rotating villain aren't able to do it. I mean, there is always going to be a reason that they can't do this. And listen, the fact that even campaigning, she has tacked so far right, as we've talked about so many times, that's usually what the politician does after winning the seat. She's doing that now. So anybody who thinks you're pushing her left once she's in power, you are out of your fucking mind. I mean, I can't, like, honestly, some of these people, like, I almost feel like I would never actually really want this, but like, I would like some kind of test before people can vote. in the primaries, at least. Like if you're just going to show up if we only had a primary. But like there are so many liberals who they just do not understand. They have such low information, and yet they are the loudest. It's so frustrating.
Well, and then look, the whole, scary guy on the right thing has gotten it has made it acceptable for the whole progressive squad people to not criticize her. Yep. They need to be pulling her left publicly now, because that should be in lieu of a primary. Yeah. They should be making demands and saying, look, we want her to do this. She's not doing that. Like, can you just say that even? Like, that's not even an attack, but you're just condoning, you're co-signing on everything she says that's anti-progressive.
At this point, the media and like the whatever Dem elite people have made it like an attack just to even ask what her policies are. That's an attack. Like that's how far from a democracy we are right now.
And can we get into the communism part of this? Because it is killing me seeing the right label her a communist.
I mean, I wish, like, look at some of this stuff. Yeah.
I'm not really a communist. I'm a socialist. If we get socialism, the next phase would be great. We get some more stuff, and then we're all just living communist. But like pretending she is a communist is just it's such a losing. It's a bad message from Trump. I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
Because the left is like, she's not fucking communist, dude. Like, don't make me like Kamala. Like, what are you trying to do?
Yeah. So, okay, go ahead. Because I mean, those two ads to me, like, it was more about the two ads that he put out. But yeah, the communist stuff is ridiculous. I mean, but that's what they always do. I mean, they said that Biden was a communist. Like, it's so stupid. It's just really so pathetically uninformed. Yeah, that's Donald Trump putting that out. Like she is on any level a communist.
But they're really pushing this. Like, so they're this is just a couple of them, but like this is the narrative the right is going with. And I get called a communist every day, and I'm like, I don't even get into defending that I'm not a communist, but like you can call me a communist, but calling her a communist really makes you look fucking stupid.
Well, no, this is part of the whole kayfabe, right? This is the way it always works. They call her a communist, and to appease them, she's going to be tougher on crime. She's going to be tougher on the border. She's anti banning fracking. She's anti Medicare. You can't call me a communist. They have been doing this forever. We're not showing it tonight, but I was just looking back on the Bill Clinton, the Sister Souljah moment. It was so disgusting. He compared her to the grand wizard of the KKK at one of like Jesse Jackson's Rainbow Coalition conventions, and basically telegraphed to white racists that the Democrats were going to be tough on crime by holding a press conference in front of like the KKK, what is it, Stone Mountain or something, with like 40 Black prisoners standing behind him. And this is the way these two parties always work in tandem. And it's by design. I mean, so like, it's so stupid. Of course, she's not a communist. Biden's not a communist, but this is how their corporate donors get away with, like, basically the Democrats and the Republicans are all just vying for the same corporate donations, right?
No,
so this is how it all,
you brand yourself, you need a narrative. So Trump's narrative right now is communism, the left. I mean, that it's always been there.
Yeah,
true. But like they're saying, what did you hear this? I don't know if we even touched this, but where is it? Trump talking on air.
Are you talking about with Elon Musk?
No, but you play that if you want. No, I'll find the.
Well, I want. Yeah, we can get to that because then I do act. Where there's a communist selfie. No, that was a different thing. That was another thing. Okay, this is Trump saying that she is some big radical. So this is an ad he's putting out now with not
Right.
a single shred of current footage. But here we go.
Yeah, I am radical. We need to get radical about what we are doing and
Right.
take it seriously. As President of the United States, I am prepared to get rid of the filibuster to pass a Green New Deal. There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. We have to have a buyback program, and I support a mandatory buyback program.
I believe it will totally eliminate private insurance.
Let's eliminate all of that.
But would you support changing the dietary guidelines?
Yes.
The food pyramid. What would people
Yes. Yes.
to reduce red meat specifically?
Yes, I would.
Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
Where do you stand on defund the police?
This whole movement is about rightly saying we need to take a look at these budgets.
Harris asserted that ICE is perceived as the modern-day Ku Klux Klan.
Are you aware that there's a perception?
I see no.
Are you aware that there's a
that
perception?
puts ICE in the same category as the KKK? Is that what you're asking me? I see no parallel.
I'm not finished.
I see none.
And yeah, I am radical. We need to get radical about what we are doing.
Like, as everybody said, like, yeah, don't threaten us with a good time. We all wish
Right.
that were the truth. But also, like, that's from 4 years ago. She's already renounced all that.
I love the ending of that where it says failed liberal danger or failed something dangerously liberal. Like, if you understand the word liberal to mean shit lib, our
Right.
version of liberal,
Yeah,
that's entirely accurate.
yeah.
Because none of that is calling her out as a leftist or actually being progressive.
Right.
But she's a failure. I mean, she's not a failure for the donor class.
Yeah.
They love her. They picked her in 2017 in the Hamptons.
I mean, again, which is why anybody who thinks that you're pushing this lady left really should abstain from talking about politics for the rest of your
Yeah.
whole uninformed life.
And because of the silent left, and I mean the Bernie squad and the squad,
Yeah.
she gets away with stuff like this. And I think we all saw it, but let's just see it again. This is protesters talking to her at her speech.
He intends to surrender our fight against the climate crisis, and he intends to end the Affordable Care Act. You know what? If you want Donald Trump to win, then say that. Otherwise, I'm speaking.
Look at that eyebrow raise. So rehearsed.
Yeah. And you know why? Because she knows this is the group that could take her down. Palestine, the issue of Palestine is so this was not accidental, but it was also, she can't hide her anger. These people could cost her the election.
And she knows she has a lot of people who are supporters who are going to back her up when she, fools these protesters who've lost family.
Yeah, and this is like just a few days ago, Stephen King. I mean, if we had a worse week, we could have given it to Stephen King, but he put out his "I'm speaking Kamala" shirt. And
I'm actually shocked that she didn't have that ready to go. Like that little girl was.
Well, the shirt was from 2020.
Right.
I'm speaking, but like the choice to put that out now, and he's a Zionist.
Right.
Shut up if you're trying to say there's no connection. I mean, it's clearly a connection, and they I'm speaking like you don't get to speak, and like the anger at protesters
and threatening
it's just
them,
foreshadowing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
you want Trump
it's
to
your
win?
voting.
Go ahead, protest.
Yeah, shut up or Trump wins. Like, that's the motto here. Other than the vibes, anytime it gets out of control. So anyway, what you're going to see with this is that Kamala you saw there, they can't hide her forever. Right. And that was so bad, even though they knew and sort of wanted that moment, it was so bad to the public that they polished it up and had a redo that was a little bit better. We don't need to show it, but.
Well, look, I just want to show the first couple seconds because this was enough for some liberals I know to be like, look, she changed. Look at that. You can push her. Here, this is the take two.
Which includes respecting the voices that I think that we are hearing from, and let me just say this on topic of what I think I'm hearing over there. Let me just speak to that for a moment, and then I'm going to get back to the business at hand.
Genocide isn't the business at hand. Stop distracting me.
So let me say, I have been clear. Now is the time to get a ceasefire deal and get the hostage deal done.
And then they send $20 billion of weapons, and they've taken away the whole meaning of a ceasefire, which is why now, very shrewdly, smartly, the protesters, the ask is an arms embargo. Because
which she doesn't support.
She doesn't support it, right?
So she's cornered on this.
Ceasefire, but they allowed that instead of meaning a real ceasefire to mean like a small pause to get back Israeli hostages, and then we'll bomb the shit out of you forever. Because Netanyahu's been very clear that he does not want a ceasefire deal, that he does not want a two-state solution. So it's just words, but just that, just the change in tone and having a younger person do exactly what Biden's done this whole time. And by the way, every Democrat has done for the last, 60, 80 years. That was enough for a lot of people. So what do you think? Okay, so there was a whole, there's just so much happening. I don't even know where to go with all of this different stuff. But there was a whole, fight on Twitter. And I don't even know how much of it was real, just like I don't know how much of Kate Hive is really real. It's toxic, it's disgusting, but I don't know if any of these are real people or if they're just bots. Yeah. Like, then it became this fight between a group of people on Twitter whose profile pictures were Black, saying, we're not listening to the watermelon people. The watermelon people pick the wrong folks to fight with. This will not end well for them. Which feels like one of the oldest tactics in the book. It's like the woman we cheers to, like, stop pitting marginalized communities against each other.
Right.
But I do think that there is also, this is such a difficult conversation, I think.
It's a conversation. It's tough for two white people to have.
Yeah.
Although you're Jewish, not white, but
right.
Look, there's no doubt that there are people that have been fighting for Black rights and causes who legitimately feel like Kamala's an ally, or even if she's not an ally, there's some benefits to the first Black president, and they're going to look past a lot of other issues regardless. And there are some that are actual activists, that are Black activists, that are like, this is our time. We can't spoil it we have to think about us. And that's a legitimate movement. That's a legitimate view for some people to have. But we know the world and we know Twitter. We've been on there. We're Twitter experts. And psyops and gaslighting and astroturf movements are a very real fucking thing.
Yeah.
And K-Hive is the key Democratic astroturf group. Like, they've always been phony. Like, Kamala has never had real support.
Yeah.
Ever. It's all phony.
Even, from Black people. Like, she had very low support from Black people. I think Biden had higher support than she did.
And to that point, look, as far as the election goes, she's in a good place. They've done well now to change the narrative and sort of script things in her favor and brand things. But there's a lot that's going to come out about her and how she handles all that. I don't think she can gain much traction, even though Trump is fucking up and trying to lose this thing himself.
Oh my God. It really feels like it's a concerted effort on his part.
But she's benefiting from a lot of misinformation that people can put on her what they want to see themselves.
Yeah.
Right. And so she's going to get taxed on her Palestine policy by people who are like, well, she's softer on it. At least the rhetoric's better.
Right.
And holy shit, it's not Biden. But then they're going to realize, well, holy shit, it's the same exact fucking thing as Biden. Yeah. So those people are not going to be as enthusiastic. you know, follow all these policies. You know, look who's in charge of our housing stuff. Look who's going to be appointed. Like,
right.
There isn't a lot of where she goes from here, because once she starts defining things more, it's going to hurt her. And she suffers from the Hillary Clinton of school of politics, where the more you talk, the less people like you.
Yeah.
We know that from 2020, where she just,
I mean, at least with Hillary, she actually stood for some stuff and was knowledgeable about it. I disagree with her on almost everything, but she was knowledgeable. She's articulate. She could get her.
She could.
When Kamala starts speaking, it is a mix of Trump and Biden, and she has no integrity and no ideology. So she really gets lost in it. Like, she really doesn't know where to go from there. I do just want to come back for just a second, because
we're getting derailed.
Yeah, the allyship between Black activists in the US and Palestinian activists for liberation is strong, and it's decades long. And so that is why I really do think that this was completely astroturfed. And I'm not saying that there aren't actual people. Listen, I do not want a Trump presidency at all. I cannot stand him, the sound of his voice. I also do not want a Kamala Harris presidency. I think it's completely anti-democratic the way she was installed. I don't agree with any of her policies that I know about that she's sort of announced. And I think she's fake, and she's a horrible manager, and she will go whichever way the wind blows. And I think she's also appalling. I understand that for some people who, for their harm reduction, they think it's better to have her than Trump. I don't agree. I think that she won't be as good as Obama, and Obama led us to Trump. So I think it's only going to push off more stuff. And by the way, I think Biden has been a worse president than Trump. I mean, I'm sorry. There's been more damage under him.
COVID alone.
And
he's
2
worse.
wars.
And that doesn't mean that Trump was good on COVID, but you are supposed to be the ones that aren't gaslighting us. So just by Democrats by them pretending COVID was over, has killed so many people. Beyond, I mean, we're talking in the world, because the world follows our moves, because of we are the top of the food chain with capitalism, and negotiating with us. And
it's very frustrating. And I just see I'm seeing one of my favorite comments ever. I love these kinds of comments. I'm just joking. Yes, they're both bad. They're both horrible. They're awful. Okay, but we should show just a couple. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to, what I was going with my point was, look, on a personal level, you might have some harm reduction if you are in some marginalized groups, right? And that might be enough to make sense to vote for Kamala. But if you look at what's better for the world at large, when you look at what's better for women at large, when you look at what's better for people of color at large, when you calculate all the murder and death in Palestine, and condoning this, and this party that we're supposed to be a part of because we're leftists,
who tells us to shut up,
just as shitty as the right. I don't see harm reduction on that level really happening. I think, like, if COVID harm reduction, no, we're better under Trump for COVID, 100%, because we'll get some news about how bad the COVID stuff is right now if Trump's president.
And a genocide. I mean, I'm sorry, but when people say, don't you think Trump would be worse? I don't what are you even talking about? Because we have more bombs. I don't know. It doesn't seem like there's been any slowdown in the bombing, in the destruction of infrastructure, in the just gleeful promotion of war crimes and destroying people's lives. I have never seen so many beheaded children and body parts. And I mean, it is so unfathomable that to say Trump would be even worse as an excuse. I will not vote shame anybody. I won't even vote shame a Trump supporter, because just like that, thing says, what was that like little meme that was like, listen, a Trump voter might not be a racist, but they didn't let Trump's racism prevent them from voting for him. So if you are a good vote blue no matter who Democrat, you might not be a genocidal maniac, but you didn't allow a genocidal policy to get in the way of voting for Kamala. So, you all do you. It is revolting. And at some point, we have to have some standards, because doing the lesser of two evils has gotten us to the furthest right Democratic Party of my lifetime. And they, they're not listening to us at all. I mean, just look at the speakers that they have. They don't have a single person on the left at all, even a pretend AOC.
Look, the public has been hoodwinked with Kamala. And some of that's going to come out, but you can't argue that we picked her because she was vice president to Biden.
14 million people.
And that's all they're going on. They're trying to correlate that vote for us voting for her. And okay, I guess we'll decide in November. Well, that's not really how it works, because you have a primary where we all debate and discuss and pick and flush out who we want. Now we're stuck with just one or two now, and we're not even at the normal, this is one that you guys all voted for at least. We're not even at that. We're like, this is the one you got. It's just her.
Yep. We chose her for you.
We picked her, and democracy's on the ballot. So you got to pick the person that you didn't pick to be on the ballot.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with all of you, and I feel like, I hope our voices, and I know Pat is also, I hope our voices are amplified somehow, because we're going to get blamed one way or the other, and nobody's going to change anything. I mean, it was interesting. I saw, he's so good, and I had to put in my head, VJs are cool. A VJ, a video jockey, VJs are cool. VJ Prasad is not Vinay Prasad.
VJs are referred to as something else. So when you keep saying VJs are cool, I'm trying to just shut up. Pussies are also cool. Pussies are amazing.
VJ Prasad was on with Brianna Joy Gray. I'm bad faith. Sorry, I was about to say blind faith. Eric Clapton. Can't find my way home. Ding,
racist.
Ding, ding. And he was so good. He was like, what is the project? Even Bernie Sanders, he didn't have a project. It was like policy, policy, policy. What's the actual vision for the future for your country, right? And he was talking about how in China, and again, I'm not saying I want to go live in China. I'm not saying, whatever. I always have to qualify everything I say. But there was an idea. We need to move 5 million people out of the city. It's too congested, but we're also going to do high-speed rail. So something that in the US would take 4 hours to get to, it is a 30-minute train ride, high-speed rail ride, so that you are completely integrated. Still, we're going to have, in Europe, they have these what they call third places. So it's not home or work, it's community. You're outdoors at a park, you're at a cafe, or you're just at a place with tables where you don't need to buy anything. It's just another place to be part of a community. What is the overall view of how the country is going to exist? And we have smatterings of policies, and she's even wiped away anything good that Bernie kind of pushed to the forefront. But then all I'm seeing getting prepared for the DNC this week is cops being funneled in from all over the country. They're putting up barricades. They're putting up fences. They didn't have this much at the Republican National Convention. And I can't remember now if that was right before or right after. It was right before. It was right after Trump was shot at. And they didn't even have this level of security. And this is what they're doing to, by the way, their own voters. The people who are protesting them, that whole thing of why don't you protest Trump? Because Trump doesn't expect our votes. He doesn't expect votes from the left. You pretend that we're part of your party and then tell us to shut the fuck up and put up barricades and bring in cops to tear gas and assault and attack and arrest your own constituents who are just pleading with you to stop decimating their families. That's how they're like, we're not pushing this left. So where are the people speaking out? Like, where is AOC? What is going on in her stupid head right now? I think we need to spin the wheel because we still have more stuff, and all I'm doing is anger.
We do.
Sorry.
But we'll get to the convention when we get to the convention, but it's going to be ugly. There's going to be a lot of visible protest action.
Yeah.
And the curious thing is going to be, does the media actually cover it? And they're going to hide a lot of it, but I think they might cover some of it because they also benefit from this horse race, like the equalizing factor of like, hey, ratings, like, let's make this a ratings thing. So if Trump's falling behind too much, let's just balance this thing out a little bit and make it close, like they might want to knock Kamala down a notch, and I'm all for it if they do, to be honest. But we might see some of that where if she was way behind, they would ignore it all.
Right.
But they have a little more permission now.
That's interesting. I wonder if that's how it's going to come out, because the other side of it, and you might be right, and maybe it is just like, let's ratings and horse race and all that kind of stuff, is, geez, I got to put it out there so you can get your own pillow.
Oh,
where it says you got a good point. Look at you.
The balloon drop.
Is that the other side of it is with journalists, people in the media who aren't asking her questions about policy, aren't grilling her, aren't demanding or like calling out the fact that all of this is completely undemocratic, is if in their mind as journalists, they're supposed to be, the place where democracy doesn't go to die. And they think that Trump is enough of an impediment or a threat to democracy that that's actually what they have to uphold. They are letting things slide because of that. And I think that tension is where, it's like, is it ratings or is it anybody but Trump? Like, I just wonder where it's all going to come out. But you're right. That might be it.
Well, there's three levels of it. There's those two things, the Trump's disgusting, actually wanting to stop him, which, hey, still do journalism, please. Keeping it a rat race to make it interesting so you get ratings. That's another piece of it. But then there's the third piece is, don't offend our actual donors and the donor class, because that's where our bills get paid. The people that own all these companies own all the media, and you're not going to be on MSNBC if you criticize them too much. Talk to a million fired MSNBC people who spoke up just a little bit about how the Democratic Party isn't progressive. So it's a mix of all that.
All right. We still have more. I'm just going to put this back up because we need to just get a little bit of the party going, right? Like, this is supposed to be
baby.
a little bit joy. Look at that. Look at that. I'm not doing shots. I am refilling my glass. Oh my goodness. Oh wait, I should have kept spinning. Sorry. Pass, and you take last.
Still time.
Okay.
Yeah, baby.
All right. Well, that's good. I'm glad I have a third glass of wine to enjoy the timeline cleanse. What do we got?
Here's some fine art.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, 0.
I'm with the girl in the car seat. What was that? What just happened?
I try not to let Lila screen most of these.
That's hilarious. I don't even know what it was, but that was pretty good. That was pretty good. All right, let's just look, because as you said, this has been a brilliant rollout. They have managed to propel her to some great vibe status without a single policy. People keep saying that, although the truth is there are some policies. Again, I just want to not going to ban fracking, not going to push for Medicare for all, hasn't talked about Green New Deal, and not going to do an arms embargo. So
the policies she came out and said are part of her platform are, well, all the housing bullshit, taxes on the tips.
Yeah.
And then not doing anything progressive. I promise. I promise I'm not going to. Climate people, fuck you. Fuck you, climate people. Palestine supporters, fuck you too. Although empathy.
I hear you. I see you. Thoughts and prayers. This is interesting to me though, because right now the average with the Real Clear Politics, this is this week. Oh boy, here come the glasses. Both because my eyes are bad and because I'm on my third glass of wine. So she is making up some ground. She is still not as far ahead in these swing states at this point in time as Biden was. And he barely won, just as a reminder. He won by 40,000 votes in the key states, I think. So it still isn't great. And this is all when we're still vibing out. That's where we are right now. I'm sure she's going to get a bump after the convention, right? Because that's kind of typical. The other side of it is, and we keep talking about this, and then a few people have also been saying it, I think either in the comments or have written to us, but it feels like Trump is trying to lose. The whole thing with Elon Musk, and I didn't listen to the full interview. It started half an hour late, right? Here's the richest man in the world. He already had a bumbling event with DeSantis, 6 months ago? Was that not enough time to fix your audio system so that 1 million people or however many people, you own this platform.
Yeah.
You know you're having one of the two possibilities of the leader of the free world on. Figure it out.
And didn't it start an hour late too?
Yeah, it started late. But this is
audio.
how Trump sounds. This isn't crazy. I'm just surprised that he even let this out, even regardless of of the actual substance of it, which is gross. But this is what Trump sounded like.
I want to close up Department of Education, move education back to the states where states like Iowa, where states like Idaho, not every state will do great because states that basically aren't doing good now. You look at Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. He's terrible. He does a terrible job. So he's not going to do great with education. But of the 50, I would bet that 35 would do great, and 15 of them, or 20 of them, will be as good as Norway. Norway is considered great. You can name them. I mean, they're so good. Some of these countries are so good. But if you go into some of these really well-run states, we have states that don't know what debt is. We have states that have low taxes, no debt, everybody working. They're really well-run.
That's a good
I'm not kidding. I think it's just his dentures out, honestly.
Why would they allow that out there?
Well, I mean, that would be Trump's poor decision, probably.
That's what I'm saying. I think he's who? Yeah. Listen, even we're this rinky-dink show. I mean, I love it, but when we have a guest on, they come on early. We check the audio just to make, and it's not great, but I mean, he needs the Tom Cruise voice amplifier that he insists on having on every set.
I mean, that whole interview thing. This is supposed to be a big win, and he got Trump back to Twitter. The rollout of that. Look, the rollout. I don't know who loves audio, but I get it if you're in the car or something. but I want to watch something. Like the whole idea, I'm going to tune into an audio interview for an hour.
Yeah.
And then the audio is shit.
Yeah.
It's like, it just reminds me of his stupid fucking Cybertruck.
I mean, he's
it's just billionaires are not smart. They just have money.
They're money.
Greedy,
yeah.
Manipulative bastards with money. They're not smart. They're not. Now you could be smart and a billionaire, but because you're a billionaire does not make you smart.
No, it makes you evil no matter what. You're an evil, disgusting exploiter of labor and the planet, no matter what, if you're a billionaire. But it definitely does not make you smart.
But what that interview does show is the arrogance of both these people, because they've gotten away with things their whole life because they have money.
Yep. And everybody.
Trump has been sued a bazillion times and lost a bazillion cases. Like, you know, he's a slumlord, found guilty on that. He stole money from his fake colleges, like fake colleges. You're scamming kids. You know, he opened his campaign in 2020 with the fucking table full of his products that weren't even his, that just had his name on them. Trump steaks.
Yeah.
You know, like
I think
this is the guy the Democrats can't beat.
Yeah. Not allowed to even start a charity or something because they absconded with the money. Yeah, it's all of it is bad. Are we, because I want to show.
I already thought we were done with the 2020, but yeah, you got something left 2020 still?
Well, I do just want to, well, yeah. Okay. 2 things. I want to show, actually it might be 3. Sorry. Well, this we all know, but anyway, it's just crazy to me, to all of us, that they're actually pushing Harris not to talk about policy because they want to wait until she's in. They don't want her to have to commit to anything. Yeah. Once again,
of course they do.
It's pathetic. But what I wanted to talk about was the announcement of Jill Stein's VP. I'm honored and thrilled to welcome Butch Ware as my running mate and the vice president we need at this moment in history. His personal experience overcoming systemic injustice, his deep knowledge of history and people's movements, and his commitment to building a sustainable, just, peaceful world make Butch the ideal candidate. This is truly a historic ticket, bringing together a Jewish woman and a Black Muslim man against genocide, endless war, climate collapse, and rampant injustice, and for an economy that works for working people, a livable future for our children, and an America and a world that works for all of us. And we have 3 videos. I don't know if you want to show all of them, but the first one I would really like to show because I just love his energy. And
I forgot we're going to cover this, but yes, absolutely. And I thought he was great. I caught some of his intro speech. I don't want to nag on the guy at all, but he leaned a lot on his history as a Muslim and with Islam. And I don't want religious in my politics, whether it's left, right, Christianity.
I agree with you 100%. I mean, I don't mind, like,
but
in the
I understand there's a way
said it, like, isn't this cool?
Yes.
Like, we're bringing different groups together, but like, yeah, I don't need to hear about anybody's religion in politics ever. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my asterisk on him. I don't think that's a big thing. I just, like Cornel West always brings up religion and talks about it in a way that isn't off-putting to people, even if you're not religious.
Right.
And, I think he probably, I mean, I've heard him speak a lot since then where he doesn't lean so heavily on his religious. So maybe I'm almost putting that out there as like if you saw the intro and you felt like I do, maybe you don't have to think that because
there's other stuff
more well-rounded than that. But I'm also hopeful and optimistic about the Green Party, which is, this is the level of delusion we all have, but let's grow the Green Party.
Yeah, let's grow it. And this is what would have happened possibly if we had had an actual primary in the Democratic Party. We would have had more voices to call them out from the left. But anyway, okay.
Good afternoon and free Palestine. Kamala Harris is to politics what Drake is to hip hop. As Kendrick put it, you come through Atlanta when you need a few dollars. You're not a colleague, you a colonizer. Aren't y'all tired of them doing this to you? Aren't you tired of the cosplay blackness, the performative kente cloth kneeling of Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden telling you that you're not black if you don't vote for him, and Kamala Harris eating chicken and having sit-down conversations with Luke, of all people. They take you light, they take you for a fool, and as Malcolm put it, you are a political chump. Whether it is Kamala Harris or Aosi Pelosi, these people are not your friends. And if you are an independent, proud black voice that even attempts to speak up for liberation, they will humiliate you and make sure that you are cast out of the corridors of power. And if you don't believe me, ask Jamal Bowman and ask Cori Bush. You cannot play nice with these people. And as of tomorrow, I ain't playing nice with these people no more.
I love that energy.
Every bit of that. And can I just say, we all need to start rolling off the tongue AOC Pelosi. Like
that
way he didn't even stop on the C.
Yeah.
He just AOC Pelosi, AOC Pelosi.
Yeah.
Like that is the way.
100%. And also I would just like to say, for 3 years now, we've been mispronouncing Wari's name. And I'm very sorry. We've been calling her Ware and it's Wari. So sorry about that. I will try very hard to remember that the next time, but give me a little ping if we forget. AOC Pelosi. Okay. And I mean, there's a couple other ones, but I don't know. Are we moving on? Where
No,
are
let's look. If we may just postpone Israel to next week. I'm sorry, but I think that's probably for the best, because Wednesday we have an expert on and we don't have a lot of stuff on Israel today.
Yeah.
I don't want to undervalue it. So we'll just cover COVID after this, I think.
Okay.
Probably,
Okay.
right. What do you think?
All right. So this is him talking about This is him talking about the long history of Black and Palestinian liberation.
Malcolm explicitly in his notes tethered the Zionist project to white supremacy directly. He said this is a European Jewish population being empowered by European imperial authorities to dispossess brown Arabs from their indigenous lands. So the analytic through which Malcolm approached the question, the analytic through which Kwame Ture approached the question, the analytic through which Angela Davis, through which James Baldwin, the analytic through which the Black revolutionary and radical tradition writ large has approached the question of anti-Zionism is as a facet of anti-imperialism and as a struggle against white supremacy. And when you understand Zionism as a white supremacist movement, then the connection to Black freedom struggles becomes organic, natural, easy, and obvious. Every Black radical with an international orientation understood this. And thus, for those of us that are steeped in the Black liberation tradition, Palestine was not a word that we learned on October 7th, 2023. It wasn't a word that we learned in May 2021 when Gaza was bombarded. It wasn't a word that we learned in 2006 with the blockade. It wasn't a term that we learned in 87 or in 73 or in 1967. It wasn't even something that comes to the historical consciousness of Black revolutionary struggle in 1948 with the establishment of the Zionist entity. Indeed, the chronologies, the critique of Zionism as white supremacy goes deeper. It goes to the end of the 19th century, to before the foundation of the state of Israel itself.
He's so on point with this, like that. The idea that this AstroTurf campaign, that Black people now have to support Kamala because it's our time somehow.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, I understand some people feel in that way naturally, but the most of the activists that have been fighting for this, like, it goes deep, like he says. It's way beyond this election. Like, they were following this issue before I was, like way before I was.
Yeah.
You know, like most of us weren't. You know, I bought into the thing that it's complicated. I don't know enough. I shouldn't talk on it because it's complicated. And then all this happened, and you look in and you're like, well, okay, so I'm going to research it. It's not complicated. We've all been gaslit by our own fucking government.
Yep.
And so for him to say, look, we've been fighting for this whole time. We can't give this up now when it's such a core issue to, liberation of everybody. Like that's the message. It's not just liberation of my group.
100%. And I think the thing for people who feel like it's somehow removed is to remind them that there is absolute class solidarity amongst the people in power. And our police train with the IDF. And the tactics that they use there, the surveillance, the weapons that they're testing out on Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank, they are bringing back here. They're bringing them to all the COP cities. So even if it's only out of self-preservation, what happens there comes back here. So we all should be absolutely protesting what's happening.
If your top issue, well, look, everybody has, if a big issue that matters to you is police brutality and, Black Lives Matter and whatnot, Kamala is going to be more on board with Cop City than anyone.
Yeah.
And not only that, she's going to do more to normalize it because she is a Black woman going to be out there in the front of it, condoning it and saying, this is good. We need this because what? They're going to spin that it's police training so that there's less violent crime. When in reality, we know these are groups being taught by the IDF largely.
Yep.
And
the more training they get, the more people are killed by police every year. Like, I mean, it's the exact same path, the exact same line.
But the training these cop cities are built to suppress protesters. Like that is the purpose right there, because the ruling class realizes people are fucking pissed. So what do we do about it? What do we do? Let's build major, huge cop cities so we can handle big groups that are against us. Well, so who are the experts in handling big groups against us? Israel, the IDF. They've been doing it for decades.
And by the way, like, I mean, just the way we know, like Nazis looked at our Jim Crow laws, it's like, it's cyclical, the way we legislated, the US legislated to make Black people, less of a person, to the 13th Amendment, to like have the carve out for, you could still have slave labor if they were in prison, to the reason we have sheriff, like all of those things, Nazis use that, right? So like, it just keeps tagging back and forth. And what it is the ruling class figuring out ways, learning from each other internationally, the way we want international working class solidarity, but internationally working together to figure out how do we sublimate the uprising that's only happening because of their disgusting class warfare. I mean, that's why it's happening, right? Like it doesn't happen out of the blue. The uprising isn't going to happen because we're being treated so nicely. We should just, I know we just pulled it down, but like, we should just thank them before I get frozen for again, the 20
thank you so much.
Memberships. Thank you.
We
so
love
much.
you. I appreciate it.
Amazing. Thank you.
But I just want to say back to the Cop City thing again, fascism, when it comes under Trump, you're like, yeah, we saw that coming. He's a dictatorish kind of guy, right? Yeah. But protesting cop cities is going to be easier under Trump, right? It's going to be the media can cover it a little bit.
Yep.
But like under Kamala, like I said, she's going to placate some of the criticism. She's going to diffuse some of it.
100%. That's what liberals do. They're more effective.
She is a perfect person as self-labeled the top cop in California. That isn't racist to call her that. She called herself the top cop in California, which a lot of prosecutors do. She was a prosecutor.
Yeah.
She was the AG. She was the one who decided what crimes could be prosecuted. An AG has the authority to disregard a lot of state law. Like you can decide on your own, that case could go away. Let's not prosecute that. Because that's a lot of, in theory, the legal system gives permission to people on levels to look beyond the law even. You could ignore the law completely in favor of justice. And the higher you go, the more you can do that. And she did not do that. She gave housing, she gave Mnuchin a pass. You know, I mean, she did so many bad things. We'll get into those. Maybe we'll do a whole show on it at some point.
In jail with faulty evidence that they were showing, they were put there with poorly handled, inaccurate evidence, and she kept them there. She kept people in jail who were up for parole because how else are we going to fund or have cheap labor to fight our California wildfires? Like,
no one
reprehensible. Yeah,
the donor class harder as AG than Kamala Harris has.
Yeah,
which is why she is more of a threat to fascism and more of a threat to these cop cities and where that goes and suppressing the public. And that's her role. She's the next phase of the hell that faces us as regular people in this country.
Yeah.
Working
class
people.
I agree.
Spin the wheel.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay. Yeah, it's time. We're going to move on to fun stuff like COVID and monkeypox.
Good old COVID.
COVID and monkeypox.
Yeah, baby.
Do we have a say what? Let's do here. Should we do here? It's kind of the same.
Here.
But it's like the good version of say what, right?
What do you,
and everybody look at that. Yeah, let's do Mark Lamont Hill. And it just landed on Fill Her Up. Fill her up.
Huey P. Newton and the Black Panthers believed in the struggle of the Palestinian people and showed solidarity. So you got from Malcolm, SNCC, the Panthers, Angela Davis, June Jordan. A black person standing with Palestine ain't new. There are people in the United States who say, look, black folk are catching enough hell here. We should put our 100% attention on that. And I ain't mad at people that say that. I don't agree, but I understand the impulse to say, look, cops are shooting us. The economy is collapsing. Schools are broken. How can I think about someone in Palestine? We should care about the Palestinian freedom struggle first because they're human beings. And as African people, we don't have the luxury of choosing who we're going to be allied with. We have to side with all principled, humanistic freedom struggles. I don't care where they are. We can't get free unless everybody's free. That's not just some lefty cliche. That's a fact. The networks of power, the structures of power that oppress people in one country are connected to the structures that oppress people in this country. So for black folk to get free, everybody needs to be free.
We have an opportunity to not just offer solidarity in words, but to commit to political action, grassroots action, local action, and international action that will give us what justice requires. And that is a free Palestine from the river to the sea.
Okay, that was 2018.
And that's why he got fired. Wasn't he? He had a show, I think, on CNN at that point, and he got fired.
Yeah,
like he said, from the river.
So, me as a leftist still supporting Palestine, I'm abandoning the black cause because I'm against Kamala, and I'm not going to let up on Palestine for Kamala. Like that's, you know, this goes deep. Like this is not.
Yeah.
The whole Palestine goes deeper than our elections. Like, I don't even fucking care. Like, this is people. I can't see another people. Did you see the video of legs getting put in a box with a baby? Like, what the fuck? How many times do I have to see shit like that and know we're all part of that? Like,
I mean, honestly, like every day something happens that's worse than the day before. So I think the thing you're referring to is when they blew, this was like Saturday, blew up a school that was a safe haven, and there were so many body parts. They didn't know who belonged to whom. And the emergency workers came and other people who survived it just put pieces of body parts in bags and weighed them. So if you were trying to find a child, it was going to weigh a certain amount, an adult, a certain amount. What is happening is so atrocious. It is so beyond any of our imaginations. It's everything that we learned that, the Holocaust was. And I think the good Germans are everybody around me. I mean, like, honestly, the people who don't want to talk about politics or, have other, and they're not single issue voters or whatever it is. Like, I grew up here, like, my parents would not buy anything German in the 70s and 80s, 40 years later. That is what is going to be. I mean, I think Israelis are already the pariahs of the whole world, as they deserve to be. But, the fact that, like, they were allowed to compete at the Olympics when Russians weren't. The fact that the US is allowed to compete. Like, the fact that we are sending weapons daily and money daily and then saying we want a peace, like a ceasefire. What are you even talking about? The man, I just saw a woman who I've been watching now for 10 months. I mean, we've all been watching all of these, but a member of the Palestinian press, and shot in the back. And like, just before the show, they're like loading her into a car. Press. So what difference does it make? That is a war crime. Like, all of these war crimes, and nobody does anything. Like, who is the only people stopping this right now are the Houthis. Seriously. That's it. Ansar Allah. That's it. That, like, they are actually stopping the shipments. And that's having a profound financial effect on Israel. Nobody else in this whole world is doing anything to stop them.
Yeah, I think the difference between now and Nazi Germany, the after effects of that is that, okay, the world knows our complicity and Israel's, evil, but they're still like beholden to our power at some point, even though we're declining in power rapidly.
Right.
But that alone keeps us sort of writing the history books in some respects. And there's going to be a tipping point where we get hit hard by our decisions on this. And, it's all happening. We're watching it happening sort of in slow motion, but it's happening now. It may take 10 years, but like, this country is not going to look the same as a result of Israel in 10 years, probably. Like,
I think that's true. And I also think it set the stage with the allowing and provoking, but the invasion of Russia into Ukraine. I think that kind of started the whole unification of BRICS. And once the US dollar is not the sole financial system, all of the, blockades that we put on poor countries and using our financial system to rule over all the rest of the world, that is, getting chipped away at. And I mean, I don't know what's going to happen next, but we cannot continue this way. I don't know that it's going to be better, and I think it's always easy. Like, I don't know that it's going to be better. I don't think if Trump wins, that's going to be better. I don't know. Yeah. But I know that I cannot cast for Kamala Harris.
Right. And look, for all the problems in our country, in theory, the world does change their opinion of our country based on our leadership. And we change presidents every 4 years. So in theory, at some point, we actually rise up, use our power, put in a government that's different, say we didn't condone that. It's disgusting. Like, that's how Germany got back into savor with the world. Like, good favor with the world. It's like, you have to separate yourself from the past, and you don't do that with Kamala, and you lose. And then so you get Kamala, she runs 4 more years. The world still hates us. Like we need, at some point, we're going to have leadership that says all that was wrong. I don't condone any of that. It was awful. And, hopefully this is an opportunity for the left to gain some power, but it doesn't happen under Kamala more. It doesn't, all of us going, oh, Kamala's good. Kamala's not good.
Doesn't. And the choice of Walz, who I, like, I like him. Okay. That's the one concession. And it's actually not really a concession. It's just like a cynical grab for votes to the left. And it's not even left, it's just, so yeah. I just, I know like we're preaching to the choir here, but like, we're not pushing her left. This isn't going left. The whole reason we skipped a primary and she doesn't have policy platforms, and they wanted her in 2017 and they rigged the primary in 2016. And then they did it again in 2020. And then they did it again in 2024. And then they finally installed the woman who they'd put on all the covers of magazines because they thought she was going to be the future. But the whole, we're not pushing that left. That's not how this all works.
Well, we're not, and the VP has no influence on policy. It's PR. I'm still glad she picked Walz, but he's not going to set the directive of what happens. He's not going to be out there speaking up against Kamala's policy.
I'll tell you, I almost wish she had just gone for Shapiro, because nobody would be confused then. I mean, that would it would have been better, because now people are like, oh,
I agree. But I'll say this again, if you're stuck with Kamala as a Democrat and winning is all that matters, they've done all the right things by being silent, picking a progressive, they're making the moves to win this thing, but you still got to have people come out and talk. You're not going to win this thing without talking.
I don't know. Maybe they'll just hide her the whole time. I mean, the only time that we know for sure, and that's only if it happens, but okay, if it actually happens, the debate between her and Trump, and he's a disaster now. Which fine. No, I mean, what?
Look, if
she just never have to say anything.
Yeah. Well, the debate's a ways away, and she's got to come out. I mean, they're going to control it. It's going to be the friendliest of friendly interviews. They're going to pretend she talked to the Chuck Taylors today thing. God, but yeah, if she has a good debate, which the bar is low, but she can out debate Trump. I mean, it's not hard to she could win that thing. And if she comes out it's a tie, so they can hide her. They'll hide her forever. They'll hide. Yeah. It's done.
Yeah.
But if there's some bad stuff at the debate that hurt her numbers and she has to talk more, then it's going to spiral the other way. So you got two options. The debate is kind of everything, because that lets her hide herself even more. But if she fumbles even a teeny bit, and she has to come out, and then she has, like I said, the Hillary symptoms of Hillary syndrome of the more people see you, the more they hate you.
I feel like sometimes I have that syndrome too, but yeah, I hear what you're saying.
No.
Josh would definitely weigh in on that. Okay. Is there anything else we want to show on 2024 stuff before we move on to COVID? What do you think?
No. I mean, we got Joy Reid even saying Kamala has to be better on Palestine, which
it can't just be words.
I don't know how that got through. I really don't know how that happened.
I don't either.
This could be the equalizing thing I'm talking about. She can talk a little more, because they want a little bit of a race because of ratings.
Yeah.
So
you might be right. There was a 6.5 minute segment with the only Arab American journalist they have on MSNBC or CNN. I don't know. I really like him. Ayman. I don't know his last name. That's terrible. I'm so sorry. I didn't pull it because it was long. But it was really good. It was on what we just talked about, I mean, it wasn't good. It was horrible, but like it was a long segment on the bombing that killed at least 100 people in the school and people having to pick up their loved ones' body parts. And then also on the doctor, her 2 4-day-old twins and her mother who were killed in the apartment while the husband went to go get the birth certificates. 4-day-old babies were targeted. And they even show the apartment building, you know, because we always hear about like the surgical precision of Israeli, you know, targeted strikes and smart. Yeah. And it was one apartment in an apartment building. I mean, I'm sure just obviously it's not good for anybody else in there, but like they didn't flatten the whole place. They targeted. They knew he was gone. They knew she was a doctor who was talking about what's happening to Palestinians. Because
so wasn't it the daughter? I mean, the baby,
the baby, twins, 4-year-old twins.
Yeah, twins.
The doctor, mother,
the mother, and the grandma, right?
And the mother of the twins, the doctor, her babies, her newborn babies, and her mother were all in the apartment. The dad went to the hospital. I mean, also amazing that anybody can give birth to 2 healthy twins during this time. Like that's a miracle in itself. It's hard just to give birth to twins in the best of circumstances. It takes a lot of food and energy and sustenance and care, prenatal care, all those things, right? So like miracle, but because she spoke out, they targeted her babies, her mother when the husband was out. Anyway, he did a 6-minute segment on CNN or MSNBC, and I was sort of, I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe, because it all just the horse race. My God. Oh, that's so evil. 10 months in.
I don't know. You can't know. Look, this war is so atrocious that at every news network, you've got Palestinian allies that are disgusted by it because they're informed. They know what's happening. You know, not all of them, but every news network is going to have people that are like, this is disgusting, but I'm getting my paycheck. Yeah. So maybe they let it slip. Maybe let this go. Maybe people get fired afterwards. Maybe they're ready to leave the network. You know, who knows? But what this showed was A, they could do the targeted attacks, and B, they're disgusting fucking evil people to intentionally target all these people. So you can't say, oh, we have to carpet bomb all of Palestine when you're capable of targeted attacks like that. And there's no iron wall in Palestine. You can target any building you want in Palestine. There's no defense structure. So,
and there's tons of surveillance. I mean, now they've destroyed so much, but like surveillance, they know, like, which is why every time anybody in the US says something about Gaza ministry or health official numbers, these are the Gaza numbers of the dead. It's actually, it is so accurate. The US and Israel use that all the time because everybody is tracked because they have to be, because Israel forces everybody to have like documentation and numbers. They know who everybody is.
Yeah. And we know it's much, much worse. Like the Gaza authorities are just reporting the knowns.
Right.
So like literally you probably got over 100,000, probably 200,000 people dead.
I mean, the Lancet just said they thought it was almost, and that was a month ago, 189,000.
And all the people starving, all the people that are going to die long-term because of all the health hazards, breathing all these chemicals from destroyed buildings.
Yeah. It's going to go on forever. This is
months of starvation. Even if you pull out of it, just, your organs are not in the shape they should be. You have a shortened life. Like the atrocities are just too much to even, I can't even begin to point to it, but we're behind this. We are, the US is.
And it could stop. It could have stopped on October 8th. They could have tried to go after, and also I know we're going to talk about this, and I would also love, because we're going to have somebody on who is an expert. But like, if anybody has like specific questions or, points, like I am always fascinated by the Jewish anti-Zionists from the 40s, right? Like Albert Einstein and Hannah Arendt and Holocaust survivors, Primo Levi, like people who knew back then this is actually fascism and it feels like the Nazism we've just come out of. So, I have so many questions, but we're going to have to funnel it down to just a few topics. But if anybody has anything like pressing, hit us up and we'll see what we can do as we prepare with him before the show on Wednesday.
Please.
Yeah. All right. Spin the wheel and then we'll quickly do COVID, right?
Yeah, I think so. We're skipping Israel, although we talked about it a teeny bit, but
I know. It's just so hard not to, but okay, here we go. Sorry, Pat. I'm sorry. I just pressed play and then we already did our here. Oh, no, we do have other here's. You do it? I'm pouring more wine. Or do you want to go?
Let's spin the wheel again.
Okay.
We need something light.
Why don't you put it in there then? Let's do it. Definitely I'm doing that. All right, let's do that and let's do a puppet of your choice. I'm refilling my glass and then we'll hit COVID the way COVID hits us.
God, which one do I go with? All right, this is
make it fun. I liked it. Okay. I don't know. So Pat and I, normally we talk like 10 times a day and we still have been like texting while I was on vacation and like sending each other different stuff. But today, for whatever reason, we were just kind of like each doing our own thing. And like, we were texting, but we did not like, normally we have a few hours where we go through all of our materials together. We kind of structure the show. You maybe could tell that we were a little bit more haphazard today. I don't know if you saw this video, but I feel like we need to start COVID with this video. Lazarus Long, who I think is a doctor, but we're in some like COVID DM groups with him.
I know Lazarus.
Posted this. I vomit in my mouth every time I see it. COVID gives you weak bones. Here's a little video.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Some people continue to experience health problems after recovering from COVID-19. Besides the common long-term side effects such as coughing and fatigue, doctors say that a COVID infection can also lead to severe bone loss.
Wrist over, lean into it. Turn it over, turn the wrist over, lean into it.
Could you see that as clearly could you see that as clearly? It looked very small on that screen. I've watched that so many times and I want to like, it is so crazy.
That gives me flashback to Heisman for the quarterback who got his leg broken in the, I don't know if it was a Super Bowl or just a regular season. It's been so long, but like watching a bone break sucks so bad. Like
it's awful. There was
I had that.
Yeah.
Well, I broke my arm like that once.
Where you could see it like that?
So it was a school field trip and to the snow, from Fairfield to Tahoe, go up to the snow. Everyone takes a bus up and all the kids were going down the hill one way. And I'm like, you guys are a bunch of pussies. And I get on my little sled, my little disc, those little silver discs.
Yeah. Oh, dangerous. Yeah.
And so I'm going down the hill and all of a sudden I start spinning out of control. And I'm like, tree. And then I had like 2 hinges in my arm. So, yeah.
Oof. I broke my arm.
So it brings back some pain for me.
Yeah. I never saw like the snap, but my older son, Asher, used to do like club basketball. And when they went to some tournament in Nevada in Las Vegas, a kid smashed against it. It didn't only crack, but the bone came through the skin. Like,
ooh, yeah, I didn't have that.
Yeah,
but I had an extra wrist. I did have an extra, and
well, that
not,
feels like a masturbation joke coming at us.
True,
You know?
but the sadistic part of it is to set my arm. They put my hand, you know, those little Chinese yo-yos where you can't pull your fingers apart.
Yeah.
They had the hospital had a high-tech one of those where you put your fingers in it. And then they were hanging weights off my arm.
Just to pull it into place.
Yeah. And I was so doped up that they would do that and I'd be awake and then as soon as they stopped, I'd fall asleep and I'd wake up in the x-ray machine when they tried to set it. And it was like 10 trips of that, like,
oh my
add
God.
more weights, pull more. So anyway, back to the hospital.
That's
I don't know. I got derailed because I haven't thought about that in 10 years.
Well, that is a pretty explicit video, even though it was so small. So I'm sorry I couldn't make it big, but it's gross. Cora, thank you. And thank
Cora,
you.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers. I feel like that also. Like I love doing this and I really missed it for the shows we weren't here because so much is going on. It's so horrendous. And this just feels like a really great community to discuss it all with. So thank you. That's really kind. Thank you. Cheers. All right, let's do a quick rundown of COVID's over.
So weekly, we're just under 1 million right now. I think they're saying, but this is based on like no reporting whatsoever.
Oh no, 33%. I think is in the next like. I think only 33% of hospitals are reporting, or states. We have it in the next slide. 33% of hospitals. That's crazy. Do you understand what that really means? So, I mean, sorry, I know like easy math, but like multiply all this by 3. At least.
Yeah. So
because they're not even testing everybody who enters a hospital anymore. Like they're not. So people who die when they get a hospital acquired infection of COVID, you might not even know that.
Yeah, it's really bad. And I know you brought it up earlier. I think the real number for the US is like 1 in 34 people. But I know on the West Coast in California specifically, I think we're closer to 1 in 22 people have like literally 1 in 20. So if you're walking around in your day and you just interact with 22 people in California, one of them had COVID. And this variant is highly contagious, like a next level contagious level. Like it's just easy to catch. So all these people just raw dogging air without masks.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's crazy. We're never bringing masks back. And the ban just started for real in Nassau.
School just started though.
And several districts have already shut down. I know in Tennessee and Arkansas, there's at least one in each of those states that is shut down. Yeah, school started here, LAUSD, on Monday, a week ago. And I don't know what's going to happen, but, you know, not good. Nobody's even talking about it. Yeah.
It's...
Keep going.
We're about to have some of those fights because it's so obvious to a lot of people what we're doing to these kids. And it's not most people, but like the people that know are going to be very adamant about this is not okay. And that group is going to grow because more people are exposed to. My kid just got COVID for the 7th time and he doesn't breathe right. Or, you know, can we have some protections? But we don't have allies. We have to scream this. We have to fight this. We have to go at this without the Democratic Party. Like the only change is not going to happen for the Democratic Party going, oh, we fucked this up. We fucked up COVID. No, it's going to come from us on a local level, screaming at our superintendent, putting the data in people's faces, insisting that this is the right thing to do, that we can put these air purification systems in place without that much money. We're going to do a drive for our local school to raise money for air filtration because it matters, you know, stuff like that. Because public policy is not going to change anytime soon with either of these people in charge.
No, well, I mean, Biden said give all that extra COVID money to the cops.
And he gave it to them. I mean,
and like, I'm sorry, but changing the filters in schools, like that would actually, I mean, yeah, it'd be expensive, but like not as expensive as a human life. And even again, if you don't care about that, like the long-term repercussions of, it's like everything. Like we don't have mass free public transit, but we're going to give money to cops to get people, to arrest people for not paying their $2. Like do the root problem, and then we don't even need the cops.
Right. And please try to do it on a community level, which means not just my kid's school, because that's where the money is. If you can afford to do it, do it for all the schools, because we're going to get a two-tiered structure where
we already have it, right?
The poor schools that can't afford to do this obvious, simple thing don't have the donations to do it.
Which is why Lena Wen and Ashish Jha were like, send them back to school, because they were at, I think even one of them might have their kids at a public school, but like a fancy public school in a well-funded neighborhood. But we've always had a two-tiered system, right? Like your zip code dictates your schools, your pipeline to being in jail. But yeah, like, God, there's a way to fund all of this. Like and by the way, and people point this out all the time, but like they have free healthcare in Israel. We're giving them billions of dollars. They have Medicare for all, but we're not doing that here. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
So here's the CDC this week. I wish we had I didn't have the second slide, but anyway, they put out, we do have the second slide here on the right. So on the left, CDC put out this meme.
So gross. I'm sorry. It's not a joke. It just is gross. I don't have any sense of humor anymore. I just can't do it. Like, what the fuck? That's a meme joke. Like, that's a joke meme. When we're like bagging on other people, we do that meme, right? Like, that's the meme. It's like him watching from behind a tree as somebody's about to, step on the rake that smashes him in the head, LOL, or like Trump is about to stick his foot in it, whatever. This is what the CDC put out. This is actually their official Instagram account.
And
wash your hands.
As disgusting as that is, I can understand sort of the flawed logic that led to it if you were fighting for protections, right? Like sort of shock factor. I'm not saying it's right. It's terrible. It's disgusting. It's so fucked up for people who lost their kids or their kids are disabled because of COVID. It's just fucked up. It's stupid. But I can see
they think they're going to like
some
maybe,
flawed
like,
decision. Right. But then on the right, here's the problem. This list of what they say to do does not include fucking masking.
I mean,
this is 5 of pandemic when we know the number one thing you can do is fucking mask work almost 100% if worn correctly.
100. Yes.
And it's not even listed. What the fuck is wrong with our government?
I mean, that it is so crazy that it's not listed, because also monkeypox, which they don't even have on there, can also be airborne. And also, I was just reading some epidemiologist, I think it might be Dr. Lucky Tran. I can't remember. But anyway, sorry. And sorry, I'm like reading everybody's stuff, and thank you. I see thank you. And this is horrible because yes, kids, like everything goes everywhere. But like, even the fomite, like even if you touch something, but because of whatever is, I'm not an epidemiologist, but like it can get kicked up into the air. Like masks work. Why aren't they? What is the problem? Like, I really don't even understand. And cancer patients are going into hospital and requesting from their doctors to put on a mask, and the doctors are refusing. And this is why, like, if you're a leftist, programs have to be universal. Nothing is means tested. The second you start means testing something or saying, only if you've paid your rent on time, only if you are immunocompromised, only if you have cancer. No, everybody wears masks in hospitals, in indoor spaces. But okay, just in hospitals. So nobody had, because nobody can, then you blame the government. Go ahead, blame the government. Good. It's the rule. That's the rule. I mean, basically, that's what Kamala is doing about why she can't defund a genocide, right? I'm not the person, it's Biden. And even if I were, I mean, I can't tell Netanyahu what to do, right? Like, push off the responsibility to somebody else. Good. It's the law. Wear a fucking mask in a hospital forever until we've eradicated anything airborne. What are we doing?
And it doesn't, this is capitalism. It doesn't even make long-term sense for our country economically. Like, it doesn't even benefit the people that are benefiting short-term from it. But capitalism rewards short-term thinking and just the people here now making money, donating to the politicians. Like, it doesn't make any sense. All right. I know we're going to wrap it up.
We're so
Stephanie,
late. I know.
Good night, Stephanie.
I know you guys are also often. This is me. Wait. I just have to say, not only am I on my third or fourth glass of wine and tweak my back, I'm in so much pain, but also I chip my tooth, and I feel a little bit like I feel a little like Trump. Like, I feel like I'm lisping.
You're lisping. Okay. I don't know. Monkeypox is out there now. Yeah. I feel like we should hit this real quick. This is a real quick list of stuff we know about monkeypox.
Crazy.
Just it's gonna be hard to read this and see this, so I apologize.
I'm letting you do it, Pat. You go for it. Okay. Put on your readers.
I got the glasses.
Look at that.
Look at that, readers.
This whole time.
Okay, so this he set this up with some basic facts. So, okay, monkeypox, mpox is viral infection spread via close contact, closed towels, all contaminated surfaces, droplet and aerosol, aka airborne, human to human and animal to human. Asymptomatic transmission has even been reported. So, look, acute illness, not good. Mild to moderate, 2 to 4 weeks, includes rash, fever, headache, muscle ache, back pain, stuff like that. Rashes look like blisters. I don't know if you've seen everyone's probably seen the
horrendous.
They look like a shotgun shot to the back. Bubbly. So you basically get these bubbly things that pop up and then become scabby, and it's incredibly painful. It reminds me, I randomly, as a young person, had shingles, and it looks very shingle-like. So, yeah. But that's the mild to moderate. Like, everyone has those blisters that pop up, and it's a visible thing for most people. Severe, though, is very, very bad. Newborn babies, children, people who are pregnant, and people with underlying immune deficiencies are higher risk. Severe disease may include larger, more widespread lesions, especially in the mouth and genitalia.
Jeez Louise.
Complications can include severe bacterial infections from those lesions. So a lot of people aren't in the place to handle all the attack on your body that is caused by this virus. Basically, it's stressful. I don't know if you've ever burned yourself.
Tools and go see your doctor.
But yeah, if you've ever burned yourself, like, a burn doesn't look like a big deal,
right?
But it's so fatiguing healing from a burn injury, right? So I've had a severe burn, and it just drains you. And this is kind of the same thing. It's so hard on your body. So your whole body targets it gathers a response to this, and that weakens every other aspect of your immune system because you're putting all your energy into fighting this. So complications include severe bacterial infections from skin lesions affecting the brain, encephalitis, heart, myocarditis, lungs, pneumonia, and eye problems. Severe, you could require hospitalization, antiviral medicines. But here's the thing: risk of death, anywhere from 0.1 to 10%, depending on the population has been in so far. 10%. This is not something people want.
No.
Avoid it. And the key thing here is that there's a lot of people spinning stuff that
it's a gay disease. That's what I keep seeing, like the right wing and COVID minimizer people.
Of massive information. And also we had another slide on it, somehow didn't make it, but there's version 1 of this and version 2 of this Mpox. This is version 2, which it's a lot more severe than version 1. So when people are like, oh, your vaccine from 30 years ago will protect you, your polio vaccine or whatever it was, or chickenpox vaccine.
Yeah.
That's super unknown, but the most important part is that this does not relate to the other outbreaks that have happened in other countries, because that was the version 1 of this, and this is type 2 of it, basically. Right. So this is much more deadly. People minimizing this are stupid. We've seen this before.
It's also, it's exponential because they're saying like even a surgical mask or cloth mask is better than nothing. Even that has like over 50% efficacy. But then if everybody were doing it, like if every time you went into an indoor space, you just wore a mask, that would it's all exponential, right? So
yeah,
just, I don't know, like Biden killed public health. I mean, truly, in a way that Republicans and the Heritage Foundation and Blackstone and the Koch brothers could only dream of. Democrats came in and took care of business.
Which is ultimately the problem of thinking these guys are the good guys, and we need to just be quiet. And they're not the good guys.
They're not the good guys.
Real good guys.
And if you believe in a democracy, you're not making somebody weaker by challenging them and talking to them about what's your policy and I want to move you left. That's not weakening somebody who there have been 46 of them, 46 leaders of the United States. It is a difficult position to get. You should have to fight harder for that than for any other thing you've ever fought for. Not just vibe your way with your Chuck Taylors into the White House. But yeah,
I would suggest you should have a primary. I don't know.
That feels really anti-democratic. Why do you want Trump to win? And why do you hate Black women?
Are you speaking? I don't know if you're I'm speaking. I'm going to use that.
Get me a t-shirt, merch it up. All right. You guys are all awesome. Amazing. Thank you for hanging out so long on a Sunday night. This is really late. Can't wait to see you all on Wednesday. We will have Zachary Foster here. Send us some, there's so much to talk about. So if anybody has something pressing, DM us to Punch Up Pod. And
somebody was in the chat earlier that said I blocked them.
Really?
Probably an accident, but just please just somehow get the message to me.
Yeah,
somebody who's friends with them, just have them DM me and I'll fix it. I'm sure it was an accident. Yeah. I have 1,000. I have literally 1,000-ish COVID deniers in my chat right now. So it's like,
I will also say there have been a couple times I've like clicked on somebody's profile and all of a sudden it's like remove or block. And I'm like, wait, no. And then I can't find it again. I have to remember so Twitter can do some weird things too. Yeah.
Cora, I did not mute you. Did I? No way. There's no way.
What?
All right. Well, anyone ever, if I ever do that, just talk to a friend, have them message me and I'll fix it right away. I don't care. Even if it was a mistake, even if it's real thing, I'll always unblock someone who asks.
Saul. Poor Saul. When I blocked him from the show that one time, totally by accident. All right. You guys are all awesome. Okay. We are going out on protests. Let's hope there are tons of protests this next week. Enjoy watching the speeches and keep punching up.
Absolutely. And Wednesday we'll cover Israel and I guess the convention stuff because that makes kind of sense, right? We'll cover both those. All right.
Yeah, we'll do both.
Yes, you can mute Lila.
That's hilarious.
Your God-given right.
Keep punching up, everybody. We'll see you Wednesday.
Cheers.
Free Palestine.